Welcome and thank you for joining us. I'm Jackie Ives, your host for Make 'em Fall Madly in Love Summit Series. 21 experts share keys and tools to help you discover how to attract love, keep it real, and make it last forever. And today we have a special guest speaker, Bill Harris of Centerpointe Research Institute. I'm delighted to have you on our summit. Bill, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for the invitation. I appreciate it.
So before we get started with the interview, I'd love to tell our audience a little bit more about you. You are currently the president and director of Centerpointe Research Institute, and you started the institute in 1989 with borrowed recording equipment set up on your kitchen table. I love that. Now, today, nearly 2 million people in 193 countries have used Centerpointe programs to improve their lives, and I know that you're one of the best-known personal growth teachers in the world, and your website is one of the most popular personal growth sites in the world. And you're also a meditation expert. You've got 30-plus years of meditation, and you've made an incredible discovery with your HoloSync, and I'm thrilled for you to share that with the audience. Tell us about meditation, the discovery, and why HoloSync is so successful.
Well, you know, when I started meditating, which was in 1969, meditation was considered to be pretty weird. Today it isn't so weird. I mean, there's been tons of scientific studies and scans of Tibetan Buddhist monks' brains and entire issues of Time magazine devoted to it and so on and so forth. And today, scientists know from a scientific perspective about many, many benefits of meditation and how meditation affects the brain and all those sorts of things. When I started meditating when I was 19, I really started doing it because I was so unhappy. I was extremely angry. I was depressed a lot. I was very ineffective in the world. I drove lots of people away. I was very rough around the edges, very difficult to get along with. And somebody suggested that if I learned to meditate, it might help me, so I did. And I got quite interested in it, and I was very disciplined about doing it for quite a few years. And it did help to a certain degree. But if you fast forward to when I was about 35, 16 years later, I was still pretty unhappy, still angry, still depressed. I was better than I had been, but I was not a very happy camper, and I was difficult to be around. About that time, I stumbled on some research that really changed my life. First of all, the Menninger Clinic, the world-famous Menninger Clinic, and the Transcendental Meditation people, and some other places, had done research on meditators where they discovered what the electrical brainwave patterns they were creating when they were meditating. So that was already known, that people when they were meditating were making alpha brainwaves, and very advanced meditators were making theta brainwaves, and even more advanced, some delta brainwaves. And there's another category called gamma brainwaves that they discovered meditators were very, very advanced meditators were making. This was about 2004 when they discovered this. But so we knew what brainwave patterns meditation was all about. Then I ran across this article by a researcher at Mount Sinai Medical Center in New York, a man named Dr. Gerald Oster, and it was this very arcane kind of article describing a characteristic of the brain that allowed you to change brainwave patterns by using certain very precise combinations of what are called pure sine wave tones delivered to the brain through each ear through headphones. And so I read this article. I was sort of I'd taken all the pre-med sciences in college, and I was kind of a geek that read scientific journal articles and that sort of thing. And so I said, these are the brainwave patterns of meditation, and this is a way you could change them. He didn't even say why you'd want to or what you would change them to, but I was saying, gee, could we change brainwave patterns? Could I change my own brainwave patterns to those of meditation. And what would that be like? And would you get the same benefits? So I got some equipment that I didn't know how to use. I was a graduate student at the University of Portland at the time, and I went into their engineering lab, and I wasn't an engineering
Okay.
student or anything, and I talked the guy, the head of the department, into giving me this equipment to use, and figured out how to use it, and bought a couple of other things, and literally on my kitchen table, on the kitchen table that had been my kitchen table growing up as a kid, actually, that I had sort of inherited, when I went off to college, or when I, went off on my own, I started making these cassette tapes with this technology on it, because this was before CDs even, and I and a couple of friends started listening to this. And the first time we did it, after listening for about a half hour, the cassette tape ended, and we opened our eyes and looked at each other, and somebody, I don't remember who, said, after this silence for 20 seconds or so, said, "Are you feeling what I'm feeling?" And we all kind of went, "Yeah, this is pretty amazing," because I didn't know this then, but we were high on our own neurochemicals, and we had just experienced this really powerful, deep meditation just by listening, without doing anything. And we were all experienced meditators, and this kind of blew us away, and we began having meditation experiences we'd read about, but we'd only had little tiny glimpses of before, the kinds of stuff you read about in books if you're reading about meditation. But now it was happening a lot. But the best thing wasn't that the experience was, pretty amazing. It was how it began to change us. Because now all these researchers have shown that when you meditate, it creates all these changes in your brain that give you more executive control over your behavior, over your thoughts, over how you feel. That it makes you more able to access a flow state where everything just feels like it's running on all cylinders, and everything seems significant, and you're really engaged in your life, and all that sort of thing. And so, at any rate, for me, what happened was this anger that I had had all the time, that had drove so many people away, it just sort of began to dissipate, and I stopped being depressed, and my mind got a lot clearer, my thinking got a lot clearer, and I became more creative and happier. All these mental changes happened, all these emotional changes happened, and I also began to feel like connected to people and connected to things. They always talk about oneness and this sort of thing. Well, I began to feel that in a very practical way. And so we began telling our friends about this, and I was, down in my basement making these cassette tapes and giving them to people and everything. Pretty soon we had maybe 150 people across the United States and a few in Europe using this informally, and they were all having similar experiences. And we were going, man, this is like meditation on steroids. We're getting these benefits that we've always thought we were supposed to get, but not only is it happening way faster, it's really effortless, because all we needed to do was listen to this. It sort of skipped the whole year or so of learning how to do it well. And every time we meditated, we were super deep. And so these changes just were really happening. So at the end of about 4 years, I was totally transformed, and so were the other people in their own way. And somebody said, you should really find a way to kind of just, find a structured way to use this and make it available, sell it. And so on my kitchen table again, I created this little company and started selling this. And it took me a few years to figure out what the heck I was doing in terms of running a company and this sort of thing. But after a few years, it really began to catch on, and I was asked to speak at all kinds of things, and I was running full-page ads in national magazines, and it just kept growing and growing and growing until today we have about 2 million people in 193 countries using this, and almost every prominent personal growth teacher and major doctors and therapists and all this kind of thing have endorsed this. As a result of Holosync, I was asked to speak at the United Nations to their Values Caucus in 2004. I've shared the stage with the Dalai Lama. All kinds of things have happened because this has been such a huge phenomenon in the personal growth world. And so that's kind of how it started. So I don't know if you want to.
I love it. Yes, it's fascinating. Thank you for sharing that with us. Tell me, how do when you're talking about the brain, what are the benefits to making the brain waves slow down? And that's really the essence of meditation, isn't it? The point.
Well, there are a lot of different ways you can describe this. There's two major aspects to what's called your autonomic nervous system. One is called the sympathetic nervous system, which is the source of what people call fight or flight. It's what makes you have a certain amount of arousal and being awake and attentive to things and everything, but it also causes people to go into a stress response, fight or flight. And today, with all the overstimulation we have and everything, lots of people are almost continuously in at least low-grade stress, low-grade fight or flight. The other side is called the parasympathetic nervous system, which there's a famous book written by a researcher at Harvard, Dr. Herbert Benson, in 1975, I believe it was, called the relaxation response, which was the sort of the alternate to the fight or flight response. And this is what happens when you activate your parasympathetic nervous system. When you meditate, it activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which when you're in fight or flight, blood flows away from your brain to your arms and legs so you can fight or flee. But when you are in this relaxation response, you get a lot smarter because the blood is flowing to your brain, and you're much calmer. You have more control over yourself. All kinds of stress-related things begin to fall away. Your cortisol, your main stress hormone, goes down. There's all kinds of health benefits to that. But a lot of people these days are talking about something called neuroplasticity, the fairly new discovery that the brain constantly changes itself in response to stimulation or movement or even your own thoughts and that sort of thing. So when you meditate in some way and change these brainwave patterns, more neurons, more brain real estate is being turned over to feeling calm, feeling compassionate, feeling connected to other people, to your mental abilities working better, being more creative, learning faster, remembering things better, all kinds of mental abilities. And so every time you meditate, you're changing your brain in a way that makes you calmer, more peaceful, happier, makes your brain work better. It causes your endocrine system to make more of the beneficial neurochemicals that make you feel happy and content, more dopamine, more serotonin, more endorphins, more enkephalins, these different chemicals that cause, you're making a lot of those on those days where you say, God, I really feel good today. So it just makes you have more days where you feel really good, and it makes you more connected to other people so that you're less reactive, you're kinder, all that sort of thing. So all kinds of normal human ups and downs, there's this underlying baseline that begins to be created where, as you're going about your day, there's stuff that happens with, wow, that was cool, I'm glad that happened. Somebody's really nice to you, or you end up making a lot of money, or something that you would say, this is good, happens. And then there's other things that happen, somebody runs into your car, or you lose your wallet, or somebody gets mad at you, or things that we would say aren't so good happen. People that meditate long term have this baseline of always feeling kind of content and kind of good. And it sounds weird to think that something sad could happen to you, but you still feel good. There's this baseline of feeling good. The ups and downs of life keep happening, but they don't grab you and throw you around so that you have to wait for something good to happen to feel good. And then when something bad happens, you have to feel bad. You experience those things and you have normal reactions to them, but it's more like, a common way in meditation literature they describe it is like these things are like clouds in the sky and you watch them float by. They're there, and the normal junk that we all have in our life still happens, but the way you deal with it changes. But these are the result of actual changes in the brain, the fact that the more you do anything, the better your brain gets at doing it. So if you argue a lot, more brain real estate will be turned over in your brain to arguing a lot. And when something happens, the parts of your brain that like to argue are more likely to jump in and say, well, let's argue about that. Or let's get sad about that. Or let's get pissed off about that. Or whatever it is. But instead, when you meditate, and there are other things you can do that fortify this too, but when you do that, you begin to turn more brain stuff over into being more content, more happy, more agreeable, more intelligent, and on and on and on. So it's a way, a lot of people these days talk about biohacking. I don't know if you've heard that phrase. These guys that are biohackers, they're trying to figure out ways to hack into your biosystem and make it better, to make your brain better, to make your body better, all this sort of thing. I mean, it's just the ordinary stuff of being fit and healthy, but there's a lot of sort of younger 20-something, 30-something people, they call it biohacking. This is sort of the ultimate biohack, meditation. So one of the other ways I often describe this is that meditation makes you more aware. Meditation increases awareness. And awareness is the ability to kind of step back a little bit and observe how you're creating, how you feel, how you behave, which people and situations you attract or become attracted to, which would fit the people that are coming to you for relationship help, and what meanings you assign to what's happening. How you feel, how you behave, which people and situations you attract or become attracted to, and what meanings you assign to what's happening. So meditation makes you more aware. Those are the most important things that you become more aware of. And here's the real key. Awareness creates choice. Those things you create with awareness, you have a choice about. The more awareness you have, the more choice you have. The things that, many things, those four things that I mentioned again, how you feel, how you behave, which people and situations you attract or become attracted to, and the meanings you assign to things, those four things generally are happening on autopilot, outside your awareness. You have what I call your internal map of reality, a whole bunch of internal cognitive processes that we're doing them right now in order to make sense of what we're talking about, and the people that are listening are doing them too. But those internal cognitive processes are sort of programmed by our early experiences to operate in a certain way. Sometimes that way of doing it gives us what we want, helps us feel how we want, behave the way we want, attract who we want, assign resourceful meanings to things. But sometimes it causes us to feel bad or whatever, behave badly, etc., etc. So the more aware you become, which is what happens when you meditate, the more those things become a choice instead of an automatic response. So meditation creates awareness. Awareness creates choice. And here's the final kicker to this. Once you have a choice, you'll always choose what serves you. And if you're more mature, or as you become more mature, you'll choose what serves you and what serves other people. So people begin to see you as, gosh, what a wonderful person, because you're always doing things that are good for everybody around you in addition to yourself. But this comes from awareness, which comes from meditating a lot. So the thing that's so great about Holosync, that was such a big revelation to me and to the a couple million people that are using it, is that it accelerates this process of meditation. Because meditation, especially in the beginning, is really hard. It takes a long time to learn. It's boring. You don't get results very quickly in the beginning, and you may go for a year or so if you can stick it out. So you get good enough, and you begin to say, well, this is doing something. I mean, you probably can get some results right away to some degree, but the kind of things I'm talking about take quite a long time to get. So if you can accelerate this so that an hour of meditation is equivalent to 8 hours of regular meditation, because you're using Holosync, you really begin to see stuff happening very quickly. And if there's anything that changes and has a deep effect on just about everything in your life, it's these benefits of meditation. It changes your personal relationships with people. It changes how you feel all the time. It allows, people have trouble with their behavior in a couple of ways. One of would be behaving badly and then you regret what happened. And the other one is that people often want to take action, want to do something, want to follow through on something, but they don't. I mean, how many people have taken courses in how to be successful at something, and then you're all excited and you get home and then you don't do anything about it? You see, but if you have more choice about your behavior, you automatically choose to go ahead and do the things that you learned. And then we all, a common relationship problem, I've had this myself, is that you keep attracting the same person in a different body and having the same fights, the same problems, etc., etc. So if you're attracting people into your life unconsciously, you're doing what you do to attract them outside your awareness, then you just keep doing this on autopilot. But if you become aware of how you do this, because the awareness you've created allows you to see how you're doing it inside your head, then it becomes a choice. Awareness creates choice, and once you have a choice, you'll always choose what serves you. You see yourself doing something that doesn't serve you, and you just can't keep doing it. So that's basically it.
That's pretty incredible, and what a remarkable discovery and the life work that this offering you've made. Obviously, you've done so well in it, now you're offering it to others. Tell me, what is your meditation practice, or what would you recommend for someone who is or even started and hadn't been successful? When to do it during the day, how long to do that, or is that in your program?
Well, we have a program that progressively makes this stronger and stronger, so that you can go more and more deeply. You have to kind of do it in stages because it's so powerful. One of the things that happens, the only real drawback to doing this, or doing regular meditation for that matter, is that it brings up all the unconscious stuff you have that's holding you back from being happy and peaceful and successful and intelligent and all that. So if you went too fast with this, you can bring up more stuff than you really want to look at any one time. And we provide a lot of support to help people do this, and we do it at a measured pace. But at any rate, we have the first part of our program is called Awakening Prologue, and it consists of quite a few soundtracks and a lot of support and access to all the support coaches we have, a lot of video, a whole bunch of stuff. We really hold people's hand to take them through this process. And as far as like what time of day to do it, that's kind of a personal choice. I do think it's a good idea to pick a time of day that you like to do it. Some people do it first thing when they get up in the morning. Other people like to do it over their lunch hour. Some people do it. A lot of people like to do it when they get home from work. They're sort of, worn out, wiped out. They do this and then they're just totally renewed. Doing Holosync is way better than any kind of a nap in terms of how it revives you and all that. And a few people do it later in the evening. I find that it refreshes you so much. It's sort of like, if you do a nap at 10 o'clock at night, sometimes you can't go to sleep. So I don't do it late at night for that reason. Although I've had other people tell me that it helped them to go to sleep. In fact, people that have sleep problems usually get rid of them if they start using Holosync. So what time of day is kind of, a personal choice. But essentially, the way you use this is you need stereo headphones to use it. So you can either download this. We have a downloadable version and a CD version. You can download it, put it on your iPhone or whatever, or a iPod or some other kind of MP3 device, or you have CDs, and you put on the headphones. You press the play button, and the very best way to do it is to sit up, but you can also doing it lying down. And for the people who think they don't have enough time, you can actually, one of the ways that people who don't have enough time use this is if you're going to get up at 7 o'clock, let's say, you wake up at 6 o'clock, you put the headphones on, you press the play button, and you lie back and just listen. And when the meditation is over, you may have nodded off and you may not, but then you get up and you feel better.
That sounds perfect.
You feel better than if you had spent sleeping. And got your meditation out of the way without taking any time out of your day.
Okay. But you recommend doing this sitting up?
Yes, I think I prefer doing it sitting. If I feel lazy, I'll lie down. But I think it works a little better. Or I don't know. I like the experience better when I'm sitting up. We find that the people that do what I just said and do it the last hour of their sleep time, they get the same kind of results everybody else is getting.
Okay. And
so people have no excuse not to do this. It doesn't even take any time out of your day. And the great thing about this is that it's so self-reinforcing. You begin to feel so much better so quickly that it's really easy to keep doing it. A lot of people that try to meditate the regular way, they'll come home and they'll say, okay, I should meditate tonight. But people do this with exercise too. I should exercise or I should meditate. Oh, I don't know, I just don't feel like it tonight. I'm too busy, whatever, and they sort of blow it off. People tend not to blow this off. It makes them feel so good that they look forward to doing it. So that's another benefit.
So you've generously offered our audience a free gift. Oops, we've cut out just for a moment. I see that, but we'll just keep going here. So Bill, can you tell us a little bit about the free link that you're doing the demo for the Holosync for our audience?
Yes, I understand that somewhere here on one of your pages or something you have the link to this, which you can tell them where to find that. But if you click on that link, it will go to a page on our website where you can listen to a free Holosync demo soundtrack, so you can feel exactly what it's like. And then there's more information on the page too about this, going into much more detail than I have time to tell about in this interview. So I would suggest that if you're at all interested in these benefits or in meditation, go check this out. It really is amazing. Then you'll be like I was that first time I listened to it with my two friends, sitting there going, oh my God, this is really amazing. It really is amazing when you listen to this and you go, God, I can't believe that happens just from listening to something. So that's my gift.
Thank you so much. And yes, if you found yourself fortunate enough to be here on the summit and part of our audience, you can go back to that email in your inbox and find that information to the free link to the Holosync demo. And I jumped on that right before the interview, Bill, and I just think it's fantastic. I do feel great. And I love that you said that people get results right away, and I know that's what people are looking for now. They want something immediate. And so thank you so much for taking the time to share this with us. I'm thrilled about your discovery recovery, and just grateful that we have this information out to the audience so they can take advantage of it and feel better.
Terrific. Well, thank you for inviting me. I love telling people about this, so it was a lot of fun.
Great. Okay, well, and thank you all to our lovely audience for being here on Make Him Fall Madly in Love, and we'll see you again next time.